And so I bought a lot of Bitcoin.
I didn't find that cocky or arrogant. I want to hug you. I was fine. I mean,
but because as a percentage of my net worth, it wasn't a big bet. It was intellectually interesting. I maybe put myself out, in front of the crowd before others, and so had reputational capital at stake. But financially, it was never a painful bet for me.
Galaxy Digital CEO Mike Novogratz updated his Bitcoin price estimate in a Skybridge Capital's interview. Anthony Scammy Novogratz forecasts Bitcoin will hit $100,000 in 2024 and increase faster in 2025 and beyond as boomer wealth pours into us spot Bitcoin ETFs. Novogratz believes Bitcoin ETFs opened a new world of tens of trillions of dollars for Bitcoin in the cryptocurrency industry. Traditional finance is dominated by elderly Americans who had numerous misconceptions about Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies before the ETF's acceptance. On January 10th, the SEC granted this multi-trillion-dollar Novogratz expects extraordinary demand for Bitcoin through spot Bitcoin ETFs to continue this year and for years to come. U.S. and global macroeconomic woes have made the billionaire investor more positive about Bitcoin and digital assets. Novogratz is especially concerned about the U.S. economy, where lawmakers across the aisle are spending so foolishly that it's unclear how it's survived. He also talked to Scaramucci about changing political dynamics in the U.S. crypto business. He stated regulatory changes allow Bitco to receive tens of trillions.
Growth of it is a function of adoption. It's a function of people having it explained to them and believing it. And so, by definition almost, Bitcoin is sold, not bought. Right? You get orange pilled. And so I'm a sales guy at my core, even though I make more money trading. My mom was a salesperson, my brothers, my sisters were a family of salesmen. And so it was very natural for me, once I thought this makes sense, to sell. And, I said this recently on TV. I was like, Jamie Dimon was calling it a pet rock and Elizabeth Warren. I said, guys, the arrogance that's coming out of your mouth is shocking, right? Ray Dalio, Jeff Yaz, Abby Johnson, Paul Jones, Stan Druckenmiller, some of the best investors of the world, Pete Brigger, Mickey Milker, they all think there's value, but you're smarter than them. Yep, Elizabeth, you are so much smarter than all of the best investors in the world that like it. I was like, you don't have to like it, but don't be so arrogant to say it's not worth anything, because that group of people saw worth in it. I saw worth in it early on because I thought this was an idea that would catch fire. It was an idea that would catch fire because Satoshi saw populism coming. The moment Brexit happened, it was the best thing for crypto. Populist governments spend too much money. That's why they're called populist. And we have a populist wave going around the world. We had a North Star before 15. It was called globalization. We believed in it collectively, rightfully or wrongfully. The world believed in globalization. And with Brexit, globalization fell apart. Now we're talking about resourcing and a war with China. None of that was there. And so we've created this political and economic environment for Bitcoin to thrive. And it's why I was talking about gold and silver, for hard assets to thrive. And Bitcoin is a digital hard asset that is beloved by hundreds of millions of people right now. What we're seeing in DC right now, last week, was the Democrats finally waking up a little bit. I mean, I've been down there so much, and I am more of a Democrat than a Republican, but these days I'm pivoting more to becoming a radical centrist. Because of Elizabeth Warren and the power she's had around the financial decisions in DC, in the Biden administration, it was like Democrats don't like crypto. And I said loudly and publicly, I was like, guys, there are 65 million dog owners in America. There are 85 million crypto owners. And right now, the Democratic Party risks being the party that doesn't like dogs. We hate dogs. I was like, you can't just hate crypto. And, on the same day that Biden threatened to veto this arcane accounting rule, Trump came out and said, I'm your crypto president. And it has almost become a purity test now in the crypto community. Republicans like crypto, Democrats don't. And if you don't vote for Trump, you're not a crypto person. And so the Democrats last week, for the first time, we had a bipartisan vote where 10 senators crossed the line, and I forgot what it was, 20 congressmen.
20 congressmen.
And so...
Will President Biden veto this?
President Biden will probably still veto this bill. We'll see. I hope he doesn't. I think it would be really foolish if he does. But, the way politics works is they say, if I don't veto it, I'm going to make those congressmen and senators that we told to vote no look stupid. And those are my base. And so it's like, oh, come on, what's the right thing to do? For God's sakes, it's just not the way DC functions. And so we'll see. We'll see. There's going to be a lot of lobbying. There's another bill on stablecoins coming up. There's another bill on market structure. Hear me loud and clear. Crypto needs both Democrats and Republicans to understand it and to push it forward, right? It can't be a technology of one party. It will stink for the crypto industry because these elections are going to go back and forth for a long time. And crypto at its core, any technology should be mostly bipartisan, right? Crypto has a little for both. It's got the libertarian streak of Bitcoin, but it's also got the progressive streak of cutting out the middleman, of cutting out banks, of cutting out music publishers, of cutting out all kinds of rent takers. And so why Elizabeth Warren decided she hated it is a mystery to me, but we've got to move beyond that chapter.
Even though spot Bitcoin ETFs have been a huge hit, politicians and regulators, especially Gary Gendler and the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, and activists like Elizabeth Warren are still strongly against the industry. Novogratz thinks that anti-crypto rhetoric will continue all year, but he thinks things will get a lot better after the elections in November, especially if more crypto investors vote. One of Novogratz's recent statements on the subject reads, "The American people have spoken, and they strongly back Bitcoin and other digital assets. It's time for the president and his administration to take note of this." The way prices have changed since the ETF was passed is a clear sign that Congress needs to act and pass useful crypto laws. This is what the American people want. Novogratz has pushed for rules to be made since at least 2021. There has been clarity in the digital assets business. At a conference in June 2021, the billionaire investor said that more regulation would make institutional investors more comfortable with digital assets and greatly increase the value of the asset class. "We need some regulation," said the founder of Galaxy Digital. This may not be a popular opinion in the crypto community, but it is important for institutions to join the revolution. In his interview with Scaramucci, Novogratz also talked about the macroeconomic environment and how irresponsible government policies are contributing to Bitcoin's growing popularity. Here are some more clips from the video.
Because of a lot of bad behavior in 2021, right? Froth and then bad behavior, plus the Fed raising rates. And so we would have gone down anyways without Sam Bankman-Fried and Do Kwon and all the other, BlockFi and Celsius and all the other problems just because of the Fed raising rates. So we were starting from a distressed position, and then we got the ETF approval, and it can't be understated how important that Larry Fink, the single largest wealth manager in the world in history, who had been negative 5-6 years earlier, got orange-pilled and said, actually, I see what these other people are seeing, and I think this is an asset that should be in lots of portfolios. And so while there are 11 ETFs, it was really Larry that made it easy for all of you guys to put some Bitcoin institutional investors in your portfolio. And that process has started, and that adoption process goes slowly. At the same time, we had the halving, which is another, the inflation rate gets cut in half. So imagine you had an asset and you say, guys, guess what? We just cut the inflation rate in half. And but the inflation in your other asset, if it's dollars or euros or yen, that's pretty high and it's growing, right? So you've got a deflationary asset versus inflationary world. And so we had a nice run, and, prices are always set on the margin. There aren't that many sellers of Bitcoin. So many people who own it, who bought it, they believe in it almost religiously. So Michael Saylor's never selling his Bitcoin, which is very different than most assets, right? These guys think of their net worth and how many coins they own, not how many dollars they have. Now, that's not everybody, but that's a big core. And so you don't see a lot of turnover. And so, listen, we're consolidating here. We'll see what the Fed does. If the Fed starts pushing rates down, you're going to see crypto go higher. It might grind higher anyways, just with the belief that gold, silver, we're starting to lose faith that this, stewardship that we have in the U.S. economy and the global economy is going to be good. And that's what the prices of.
So
Several factors are coming together that could cause Bitcoin prices to rise in 2024 and beyond. Possible Fed rate cuts, the end of QT before the November elections, higher demand for spot Bitcoin ETFs, and generally worsening economic conditions will all lead to much higher prices for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies over the next few years. Novogratz predicts that Bitcoin will go from its current market cap of $1.3 trillion to capturing 100% of gold's $15 trillion market cap, which would value each Bitcoin at $750,000. Novogratz also thinks Bitcoin will reach the much-anticipated $100,000 price tag in 2024. Is he right about how much Bitcoin will cost in 2024 and beyond? Please share your thoughts, comments, and observations in the part below. Also, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications to see more videos like this. Thanks for watching.